Hey everybody, it's Casey from Broke Neck Adventures, and we're here in South Carolina. I'm back at the compound after a successful run down to Florida. Had a blast down in Florida with my cousin, um, and did a lot of miles in Florida. Just trails all. I did the coast to coast from the Atlantic to the Gulf, and did that twice. And then there was another trail that I stumbled into. Wasn't even, I had no idea. I was just heading south down the Gulf side. And it goes from Sarasota to my cousin's hometown in Venice Beach, Florida. And man, that's a nice trail. That's a rail trail. It was, and in Venice Beach, it was cool because the former Barnum Bailey Circus, uh, their kind of winter training spot, still have the trapeze and nets and cool stuff like that, and cool history there. There was a train stop that's been converted to a public transit bus stop now, but it's the train station where just down the road a piece they would bring all the circus things and load up the train and go do circus stuff on the train thing. And I think that went defunct in the early 80s or something like that, but very cool. Florida has a lot of nice trails going on, a lot of um, marked bike lanes in the road, but Florida drivers, they're still convinced if you're on a bicycle, trike, whatever you're riding, pedals, whatever, you're not supposed to be on the road. They're convinced you're supposed to be on the sidewalk or something. And they give you zero consideration. The closest call I had was down there, and it was a pickup truck, and I mean, it was so close, you get that wind and it'll pull you over, kind of like when you pass a semi or semi passes or whatever. Um, like you could have reached out and touched someone on that one. You could have totally. It was far too close for comfort. They don't slow down for you. Nope, 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 nope. And you get a lot of honks and people cussing at you out the window and stuff like that. That was the downside. But there are a lot of marked trails. All the places I went, uh, it takes you through Orlando. Orlando's pretty bike friendly, where there are not marked trails on the street. Big old wonking sidewalk, so plenty of room. Um, all in all, a good trip down there. Uh, and I got to go through Savannah again. I dig Savannah. It's just a neat town. Um, and so I'm back at South Carolina, and I thought I would take this time to um, talk about what I've learned on my tour. This was my first tour ever. Now I've cycled a lot and riding in traffic. I would call myself, an experienced rider. So, car stuff don't bother me that much. It gets a little annoying after a while, because especially on a trike, because you're low and you're right there in the noise and the dirt and stuff. So, and you're wider. So, rumble strips really become the bane of your existence, because there are parts where if you're on a two-wheeler or an upright, diamondback, whatever, diamond frame, it wouldn't be so bad because you can get skinny. But, you know, with recumbent trikes, you've got the side-by-side wheels, depending what kind you're riding. So getting skinny is kind of tough. So most of the time you're hanging at least one wheel out because you have to straddle a lot of those rumble strips, or you're one wheel into the rough. The other thing about Florida too, particularly on the Gulf side, uh, I maybe they're goat heads. I don't know. I got more flats on that side in that run from Tampa to Venice Beach and back than I had on the whole trip. It was insane. I could not keep up with it. It was nuts. I was getting, sometimes I'd get 2, 3 a day. It was just crazy. Um, oh, sure, yeah, you can get Schwably Marathon Plus and throw some Tanis tire liners. And you know what I'm not going to do? Spend $300 on tires. I can get a lot of flats for $300. That buys a lot of tubes and a lot of patches. So uh, I might rethink that as I head west. Um, but right now I'm going to hang out here. I really like it here. Met some great guys here doing some cool stuff at the off-grid place. Um, got the solar finally sorted out, and now we're getting ready to drill a deep well. We've got a shallow well, and you can't drink the water, but it's running water, so you can we take showers. You can spray out dishes, blah blah blah, stuff like that. But you definitely don't want to drink it yet. But certainly have the solar seems to be pretty sorted out. It's what kind is it? It's an eco-worthy, and man, it's a pretty idiot-proof setup to hook up. Now it gets a little tricky on their battery setup, and I haven't really sorted that out yet. I'm gonna have to go to their site and kind of do a little bit more deep diving because myself and the property owner have differing opinions on how many batteries we can hook up at a time, and we're running in parallel right now. Um, I'm saying you can only run 4 according to the instructions, and he says you can run what we have is 6 batteries in parallel, and we're kind of bonking heads on that. So I told him, I was like, look, if you want to run 6 in parallel, go right ahead, but I'm not going to. I was like, I'm going to stick with 4. If you want to get another 2, we can run 2 strings of 4 in a parallel series setup, but yeah, but it is what it is. What we have right now is working very, very well, though, and that's solving a lot of issues. I mean, no more um, spotty power issues. I'm not a fan of Jackery. I'm not at all. Their panels give up too easy. Uh, we started out with a Jackery 3500 with 4 200-watt panels. Thought it was great right at first. They were putting out, an 80% efficiency. Thought that was, that if you know solar, that's not bad at all. But pretty quick, like, yeah, when I got back from Florida, they weren't even doing 50% efficiency. And now the brain unit's a pretty trick. The actual battery unit and stuff like that. They're pretty okay, but it's aggravating because they have a proprietary hookup, and which isn't that big of a deal. It's just kind of a hassle. But I would highly recommend, I don't have a problem with the brain part, the actual battery part. The panels aren't worth a tinker's damn, though. Seriously. I am so unimpressed with it. So we just lopped off all proprietary stuff except where it plugs into the unit itself. And got different panels that work much better, much more efficiently. And now it's more of a backup with a generator. We'll charge it up with a generator. Wow, a rare car on this road. Of course, when I'm filming. uh, but Yeah, the Jackery panels, you got a long way to go, guys. For weekenders, I can see where it's okay because you're only going to be there, a weekend, maybe a week tops, and then they're going to get packed away, um, and they're not going to have to work so hard. But yeah, no, I won't do it again. And my mini Jackery, it's malfunctioning with F3 codes, and once again, the panel started out and I was getting maybe 75% efficiency, and within a month and a half, and this is daily usage, within a month and a half, geez, I mean, it's a 40-watt panel. I'm lucky. On a great day, full bore sun, I'm lucky to see 18 watts tops. Just not impressed with their panels at all. Anyhow, off to a different thing. We're talking about the tour here, but I just wanted to throw that out there because I know there's a lot. They've got a hell of a promo team at Jackery. The ads and all the stuff looks nice, and you go on YouTube and people are like, oh, yada yada yada. Mm-hmm. Not if you're going to be using it on a daily or a lot like you would on a trike tour. Not what they're designed for. They're kind of like the Craftsman tools. Great for weekenders, good tools, nothing that wrong with them. Just if you're going to be using them every day in a variety of situations, not the best choice. So I'm going to be looking for another solar setup when I start out the next leg. And that's what I want to get to. I'm not really sure. I know my original plan, I mean, this is very ambitious for a first tour. It's like, yeah, I'm going to ride all the way around the United States. And I still plan on that. But I think I'm going to have to do it in sections because, one, I did not at all budget my food cost right. Not even close. I did not realize the amount of calories it was. I did not do my homework well enough there. And particularly with the weight I was pulling, I ended up weighing that thing. It was damn near 450 pounds with me on the bike and the trailer and the dog and all the gear and some water. That's a truckload, folks. That's a truckload of weight. And I rode that all the way to South Carolina. Now, conversely, my legs are strong as oaks. I mean, I've got muscles in my legs I didn't know existed. Back still, although over the, I don't know, I'd have to really map it out, but I'm somewhere in between 4,000 and 5,000 miles. I know I did 1,000 miles in Florida because I was averaging 2 to 250 a week. But somewhere in that ballpark. But with that load all the way to South Carolina, brutal through 4 mountain ranges: Adirondacks, Appalachians, Catskills, and a little bit of Blue Ridge. Touched all 4 mountain ranges at some capacity or another. Some things you want to consider though, if you want to go on a bike tour. First off, where do you want to go? Do you want to ride one of the trails? The Erie Canal is awesome. If you want to do that, that's 365 miles of awesome. Now, granted, there's some detours that, like, there was one detour, and I can't remember what town it was. Somewhere, I don't know, somewhere in the halfway point, I guess. I have no idea. But it shot me more up toward the end of the Finger Lakes, and that was ruthless because it was this all the time for 10-15 miles, just undulating, rolling hills. And those of you who know, and if you don't, you want to question your decisions on taking a bike ride. Do undulating hills all day, and you will really, yeah, that was brutal. because it's just little climb down, little climb, and it's just constant climbing these, you know, somewhat little. I mean, couple, few, somewhere, you know, couple hundred to 1,000 feet, and then sometimes you'd hit a tabletop and wouldn't get you down and have to climb some more, and then it'd go down a little bit, and then you're climbing some more on a tabletop, and it was tough. That was a tough section. Um, but some of the things you got to consider is how do you want to travel? Um, I did not do any hotels whatsoever. It was not in the budget. So the cool side was is I stealth camped every borough in New York City except Long Island because I couldn't find a way in really. I didn't look that hard. I've been to Long Island, um, but it was mostly bridges or tunnels, and I don't think I was going to be able to cross on my bike. Uh, but I did stay in Queens for 3 days. Stealthed in Brooklyn, stealthed in Manhattan a couple of nights, Yonkers, Bronx. Yeah, and I rode a ton in New York City too. I went from Yonkers to Lower Manhattan several times, and across to East to West Manhattan. Um, Met a lot of cool people. Stafford Gregory, how you doing? I don't know if you're watching this, but hey, a very cool guy. He was a professor of English, I believe. Um, we hit it straight off. True radical he is. He's a cool cat, man. I like him. Uh, met some other people along the ways. Saw the typical thing. Now, when I used to go to New York in the 80s and 90s, it was the Lower East Side that used to be kind of the rough spot. And that's where, you know, you had CBGBs and Bleecker Bobs and all that cool stuff, and the Bowery, um, and that's all been gentrified. It's all cleaned up now. But the one place that, you know, because it is a really big city and those people got to go somewhere, I think it all went to Midtown Manhattan. And if you go through Midtown Manhattan, that's like the New York of old. It smells like urine and other bodily functions. There's plenty of spent, you know, rigs and stuff and whatnot. But I was going through Midtown and was watching this kid skate, and it was pretty cool. And man, he was really trying this one trick and just couldn't quite get it. But I was rooting him on and remembering back in the day when I was able to. And I still enjoy watching people skate. It's fun to watch. Hey, wow, another car's coming. Rats. I thought I was going to pick a quiet time, but apparently I'm wrong. Um, Things you want to consider is, okay, how long your tour is. How do you want to do your tour? Do you want to do what they call a credit card tour, where, you know, you just bread and breakfast and things like that? Well, if you do one of those, basically all you need is some clothes. Probably not going to need anything to cook with. Um, it would be a good idea to bring some basic tools, because, you know, flats are flats and you will get them. They're unavoidable. You can help prevent them, i.e. through tires and Tannis tire liners and things like that, or other types of tube protectors and tire liners. I did not have a flat problem in that section at all. I mean, first couple thousand miles I may have gotten 2 or 3 flats, no biggie. The other part is if you go budget like I did and you don't want to spend a lot of money on the hotels and stuff, you better practice up and learn your stealth camping skills. And in hindsight, well, there's a lot of things in hindsight. This whole thing's about hindsight, really. In hindsight, let me adjust things here so you can see a little bit of the floor. I'm pulled off the side of the road. in Francis Marion National Forest. This is an abandoned road of some sort. I don't know where it goes. I don't feel like exploring it right now, but maybe sometime in the future. Uh, in hindsight, I probably wouldn't have taken a tent considering the whole northeast section. I mean, geez, as soon as you hit Albany, it is an urban slog until you get to the Virginia, North Carolina, Florida. You cannot get out of the city. It's just one city after one suburb after another suburb after a strip mall after, and it's really not enjoyable. It's the East Coast Greenway. We'll see. We'll see how they work that out. I know it's only. I think it's 65% complete. But the route they took you through takes you through Jersey is god awful. At least I took the southern tier. Awful, awful. It dead ended. 3 miles of it was by a sewer plant. You can imagine that smell. If I had smell-o-vision, ugh, that was horrifying. Dead ended into nowhere. I got hemmed up there. Finally got out of Jersey. I think it popped me over into Pennsylvania a little bit, and I forget the town. Met a great guy. Still talk to him on Facebook, and stumbled into a great trail, a canal trail of all things. I think it was called the D&L Canal. And right out of Jersey, you go over, gosh, is it Potomac? I can't remember which river it is. Sorry for doing that right here on camera, but my nose itches. Got to trim some of the old man hairs. Anyhow, you, you, once you got out of Jersey, it wasn't too bad. I didn't mind Jersey all that much in town. I mean, I found myself in some sketchy areas, but people were, I mean, I had people driving by just like, woohoo, oh, and was, thought it was cool. So, and that was with the whole rig, with the trailer and the dog and the whole 9 yards. And in my GTO, my Greenspeed GTO. And, but the problem with cities, and I still don't like riding cities. I just don't. It's stop, it's start, it's traffic, and my head is not on a swivel anymore. It's bolted up pretty tight. So I'm not a fan of riding in the cities. I just really enjoy riding country roads and rural areas. But that section from Albany all the way down past DC, all the way into Chesapeake, except for when you get to Richmond. When you get to Richmond, a great rail trail, awesome. It's 52 miles. It's the Virginia Capital Trail. It takes you from Richmond all the way down. And Richmond's a fun town. It was cool. I had a good time in Richmond. Met some couple people there. Really cool. Kind of collegey, kind of arty town. Kind of my kind of thing. If I'm in a city, that's usually my crowd. It was pretty cool, but it picked it up in Richmond, right downtown Richmond, right underneath this crazy overpass of highways and railroads and all kinds of stuff. There ends up being a rail trail. I didn't even know about it. I wasn't sure if I was going to be able to get to it because there's these walls and they have these arched openings and they're pretty narrow. And I was just able to squeeze the trike and the trailer through. So once I got on it, though, it was on. It was such a great trail. I could have easily ridden it in one day, but I took 3 days because the history is insane. And there's just scads and scads and scads of the little white historical signs going all the way back to Pocahontas and I mean way back. And it ends up taking you all the way to Jonestown, I believe. Pretty sure that's it. Where the first European settlers hit in 1609. I'm almost sure it's Jonestown. Checked out checked that out a little bit. Kind of on the touristy side, you know, kind of touristy trappy. It's like a burger, and I got a burger and something, I don't know, nothing fancy, burger, fries, and a Coke, and it was like 30 some dollars. And I was like, you got to be kidding me. I was like, for $30 for a burger, this thing better come up and kiss me in the face like it's Jesus Christ himself. Um, uh, but it was very cool. The historical aspect of it was phenomenal, absolutely phenomenal. I loved it. From there, it's all pretty much, once you cross over to North Carolina, you're running coastline all the way down. And it was great for me. I enjoyed that because it was off season. It would have been January at that time. And now New Year's Eve was a bag of suck. New Year's Eve, rainy all day, cold, 40 degrees, rain, just gross. And I had stopped at one of the road angels who let me crash at his place. He hooked me up with some cool stuff. I still have the cup holder that he had on his motorcycle, but he didn't like it, so he gave it to me. And it fits very nicely right here. Here, hang on, let me pull my phone out and I'll show you. Let's see, there it is, that right there. Pretty cool little deal. You can let it swivel, it'll tighten up. Good little bottle holder, you know, for your beverage. Whatever it may be, electrolyte drinks, whatever, water. Um, but when I was going along, it was off season, there wasn't a soul around, and I'm pretty sure I cut some videos and some shorties of just these empty beaches and, you know, places I can't afford to be. But if you're resourceful enough and you're willing to, and yeah, so Hank and I slept on the beach quite a bit along the way there. When it slept on Myrtle Beach, gosh, about everyone, all of them. In Topsail, where they call it Topsail, it's spelled Topsail, Topsail. Locals call it Topsail. Met a great guy, retired Marine Master Sergeant Dan, and boy did we have fun. Once again, a happenstance meeting, and I was sitting at a coffee shop. I had just rinsed the 3 pounds of sand out of my chain, because, you know, you're riding along the coastline, and yeah, just get used to it, man. If you're riding along the coastline, you're gonna have to stop and spray off your chain a lot. You're gonna have to clean it a lot. It just gets all full of grime and stuff. Um, Retired Master Sergeant Dan, great guy, motorcyclist. I was sitting at a coffee shop, and he pulls up in his trike, and, you know, for the life of me, I'm not sure what kind it was. It was an older one. And by that time, I had gotten my Magnum, my Green Speed Magnum. Thanks, Whiz Wheels. So much, you don't even know. Nothing wrong with the GTO. I love the GTO, and I'm hoping it's still at my friend's house in storage. I plan on picking that up. I have plans for it. It's going to get updated and rehabbed, because that thing's fun as a bag of monkeys, let me tell you. Didn't do too bad on the tour either, given it was 20 whatever years old and an unknown amount of miles and stuff like that. And it survived my learning curve. Had a couple of major breaks, or one major breakdown, kind of two, but one big one. But thanks, Josh, for sending me my spare internal gear hub. So I was able to fix it. He overnighted it to me, and thank God I was only maybe a mile away from a bike shop to be able to pick up the sprocket wrench, the cassette wrench. Uh, got that. That was in Kirkman, New York, where the oldest church in New York is. It was very cool. Broke down right there. If you're gonna break down in a church. You get good juju that way. Anyhow, so you're on a tour. If you're thinking about it, decide. The important stuff is how do you want to do it? Do you want to do hotels and things like that, and budget appropriately for it? You know, some people who do it, maybe budget isn't your worry. So, yay for you. For me, on an SSI stipend, not an option. But so you have that. And if you're doing a big tour and you want to boondock it like I did and just camp the whole way, you're going to have to think you're going to need a sleep system of some sort. You know, I think in hindsight I would probably go with a more of a bivvy type setup because it's much easier to conceal yourself, particularly in the urban areas. Much smaller, easier to pack, that kind of thing. Don't think it weighs as much. You know, you can get bivvy setups, you know, tiny to fit in your pannier. Of course, your cooking setup. You know, how do you want to eat? Do you want to cook your food? How are you going to carry your food? Are you going to carry it in a cooler? Well, where are you going to put that cooler? Hence, you might need a trailer. What kind of trailer? How big of a trailer? Do you want to make the trailer yourself like I did? Trailer held up. It's back at the compound with its latest upgrade, which I did a video on before I took off for Florida. And it's still there. It still has air in the tires. Cheap-ass Walmart tires, and it still has air in them. It's hilarious. But hey, you know, it worked. It did the job. It had the old BMX wheels on it. Good wheels. I mean, big honking axle in them. Gosh, what is that? Like, it was something crazy. 5/8 or something like that. It's a big old bolt. Ain't gonna break that bad boy. And I ended up putting an aluminum deck on it and a better kennel. But then the downside was, you know, Hank wasn't taken to the road very well. He was a nervous wreck every day, so I left him back at the compound at the off-grid property with my friends and finished out this part of the ride or the tour. So you have to think about how you're going to eat. You know, you're going snacks, gas station, restaurants, you know, or you're going to try to pack your own food. You know, there's lots of ways to go about it. Some people can freeze dry it, whatever, get canned stuff, you know. Just remember, you know, it's all about your weight, and canned things, although, you know, they'll keep, they weigh a lot. To carry, you know, 3 days supply of food with cans and whatnot is a lot of food because, like I said, I did not budget it at all. I did not know I was going to need to eat as much as I did. I could not keep weight on. It just peeled off me. You know, I have a picture of me when I entered Pennsylvania, and wasn't heavy by any stretch of the imagination. You know, I thought I was in pretty decent shape and pretty trim. By the time I got to Florida, though, yeah, I was down to, gosh, 161, 162 pounds. Yeah, there wasn't, you weren't pinching much off me. All you were getting off me is loose skin. You know, I have the old man 60-year-old skin, so it's not firm like it used to be. It's pretty loose, especially around the waist. So you have to really, really, really plan how you're going to eat and what you're going to eat. Me, I'm not particularly picky. All I know is I don't cook. I'm not a good cook. You know, sometimes if I wanted hamburgers or whatever like that, yeah, I would get some frozen hamburgers, ride along until they thawed out, and find a park. And usually most public parks will have, little grills or such things. And I'd just collect some wood and bam, hamburgers and chow down. Get a little 4-pack of buns and pound of hamburgers and a couple pounds actually. I'd smash like 4 or 5 burgers. Like I said, you have to eat a lot of food, um, particularly when you're cruising with that much weight. The calorie consumption is insane. Other things you have to consider is, and I've become a very good bike mechanic over this tour. I was okay before, but now got a pretty good understanding of how my machine works, and I've had my hands on everything but the crankset. So, from rebuilding internal gear hubs to multiple chains breaking to multiple flats to adjusting steering on the fly, blah 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 blah. Yeah. You definitely the longer the tour, the better it is. If you know how to work on your own stuff for real. Uh, oh, assisted or unassisted? How good are your knees? If you're going to be pulling weight and your knees are kind of skeptical, you're probably going to want to get an assist of some sort, an electric assist, because my knees are pretty much fine other than some arthritis. Almost 60. It's just part of the deal. Been on my feet a long damn time, especially a life in the trades. I've never had a sit down job. So there were some climbs that really tested my knees out. Pretty sharp pain behind the kneecap, and I'm not sure what's behind there, a meniscus or something. It's okay now, but the one thing that would keep me from really hammering, because my leg strength was off the charts. I mean, my legs are strong. Um, but to really hammer, my knees would start barking if I put too much torque to the pedals. So there's that to consider. How you want to, do you want to camp it all? Are you doing a huge tour that's going to take you a long time? I had to squint and look at my time, and I'm almost at 45 minutes. I'm kind of blithering and rambling on because I don't script things. This is all just off the top of my head. All apologies. Hope you don't mind. And the most important thing, though, particularly on longer tours, is this right here, the dull gray matter. Part of the reason I want to stop for right now is I'm kind of burnt out. 4,000 or 5,000 miles is a haul, folks. It's a haul, and it becomes more of a mental game than a physical game, because your conditioning will come. It will come. Although I did do some pre-riding and conditioning before I left, and my conditioning was fairly okay. My wind isn't great because I smoked for years. Yeah, a couple of times I've quit. I'm going to quit again. Full disclosure. But I wouldn't go into heavy cardio. I'd keep a pretty steady clip like I always have. I'd get froggy and really push it for a few miles. In fact, I dropped a video a while back, and it was nothing but a 30-minute ride, and I was pushing it on that ride. I mean, I was averaging over 15 miles an hour on that ride. And still, the conditioning was great. It wasn't, my legs didn't rubber out or give up. I certainly had my fair share of 8, 10, and 12-hour days of pedaling. That'll 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 get you in shape, let me tell you. Uh, but it's a mental game. You just can't give up. You don't give up. You see that hill and you think there's no way I'm going to cross that hill. Or if you see a big bridge, I've crossed quite a few impressive suspension bridges that were big and long, and they were a good steady climb for a mile or two, with weight, and you know, and made it. And then you get to go down. It's a lot of fun. But it's all here. It's all in your head. You know, if you say you can't, then you can't. You know, I'm not really one of those people. Never really have been. Oftentimes to my own detriment. You know, yeah, I can make that jump. Yeah, not so much. Yeah, I can ride blah, blah, blah. So, and my sister came up with this and she told me about it, and it's absolutely true. You can do more than you think you can. So if you think you want to try to do a trike tour or a bike tour, do it. Don't come up with excuses, oh, I don't have this, or oh, I need that, or oh, whatever. Look, get yourself a bike and make it happen. You don't have to have panniers, they're just nice to have. You can come up, you know, it's your tour. You can do it however you want. I've seen people touring with milk carton crates on their bikes. You name it. I've seen, you know, older bikes, newer bikes. I've seen guys that are doing just straight speed runs and crushing 150 miles a day, but they don't have anything on them other than a few necessities, little tiny bags with, you know, basically a change of clothes, and it's just riding clothes, so you can wad that up into a small package. And they're doing all hotels, so they don't have to worry about tents or anything like that. They can just sit there and spin pedals like a maniac. And I would love to be able to do that. I want to try that, actually. I don't know. I mean, I want to ride the Katy Trail. I'm from Ohio, and I need to ride the Ohio to Erie Trail, the OTET. You would think I would have rode that first before taking off to Florida, of all places. But yeah, just get off the couch and do it. Don't sit there and come up with excuses of why you can't. Come up with reasons why you should. And the biggest reason is your physical and mental health will absolutely improve, because physical for the obvious reason, because you're constantly pedaling every single day, day in and day out, maybe weekend breaks or whatever. That wasn't my case. I was pedaling every day. Rarely did I stop any one place for an extended period of time, like 2 days. There was a couple campgrounds I did. I stayed for 2 days, but mostly it was 7 days a week, anywhere from 5 to 10 hours, depending what time of year it was. Obviously in January, it got cut way down to, you know, I only had 5 good hours and of riding, and was really only getting about 20 to 30 miles a day. So, but what I've learned about myself, what I can endure, what I can circumvent, what I can fix, what I can overcome, these are all things you're at the end of your tour that, and it doesn't matter, you know, I don't care if it's 50, 100, I don't care. If you go on a bike tour or a cycling, let's just call it a cycling tour. That'll save, because you know, I'm not choosy. It's like, look, you pedaling something, you're cycling. 3 wheels, 2 wheels, 4 wheels, I don't care. Aside for the folks that have to have it, I'm not impressed with these electric bike people at all. I don't care. I don't care. I'm not impressed. I was like, especially if you're able-bodied, because it was nuts. In New York, you have these people, they have rent-a-bikes and they're electric bikes, and they're whizzing, dude. They're whizzing 25 mile an hour, and they don't care. They're no. And here I am chugging this. I called it the tractor trailer, and yeah, I was safer in traffic. In gridlock traffic, I would have rather rode in and out of that than be on the actual bike path where people are just, they don't tell you they're coming. It's just all of a sudden, bam, there's somebody and they whiz by at warp speed. And yeah, and yeah, I would see them a lot, and perfectly able-bodied people whizzing around on electric bikes. There were times I wish I would have an electric assist on climbs, things like that, where the knees are screaming and whatnot. But the only thing that works well on me are my legs. My back's shot to pieces. My arms aren't. This hand is pretty bad. I can't really play guitar and stuff anymore. I tried last night, and it's just too much damage over the years, too much nerve damage and stuff. But yeah, it's you want to, how are you going to carry your, first off, what kind of tour do you want to take? And you pack appropriately. If you're going to do hotels every night and B&Bs and that kind of thing and not do the camping route, then you can run pretty light with some simple things. You want a basic toolkit with some Allen keys, some tire paddles so you can change your spares. Absolutely, without a doubt, carry 2 tubes and a patch kit on you. You will get a flat somewhere along the way. Maybe not on the shorter ones if you're just blasting a 50-mile quick run to wherever and back. That's a different animal altogether. But if you're going to go on multiple hundreds of miles tour or more, yeah, prepare. Always try to keep at least 1 or 2 tubes on you, even if they're patch tubes. I kept my patch tubes. I usually, my rule of thumb is 2 patches, and then the third puncture, I send it down the road. But yeah, you definitely want to be able to change and change your tire, patch your tubes, or replace your tubes, however you want to do it. You really need to know how to do that. It's not hard. It's not rocket science. It can be hard. It can get very fidgety, especially with skinnier, smaller, tighter tires, like more of a performance type tire. I've got 195s on this. They're easy peasy Japanese, and they're off. Know your bike, and helps if you can make your own adjustments and how this stuff works, because you're not always going to be near a bike shop, and you may break a cable, which I'm pretty sure I did. I broke my rear derailleur cable. Yep. And so I had to fix that on the fly. So know how to do that stuff. It'll save you a lot of headaches if you can do it right on the side of the trail or wherever you might be when something breaks down. And it will, trust me. The longer you go, the more chances that something's going to break on your bike. Visibility is tantamount, and do it however you feel fit. If you ride a trike like I do, a lot of people use their flags, and that's fine. I personally can't stand them. Every time I think about flags, I think I have to get a coinciding beanie cap with the little propeller on the top, because I don't know if it's just this neurotic layover from the road biking days or what, but I just won't. But I did come up with this idea in Florida. This is just your standard high-vis vest, and behind this is my Camelback uh, hydration system. Water, water, water. Gotta have it. Thanks, Master Sergeant Dan. Hooked me up with a Camelback. It's pretty trickling too. It's pretty nice. All I did was get a bladder and it's rock and roll. But I have the Camelback hung on some PVC pipe that's hung onto the top stems of my seat. And then there's a crossbar and my blinkies, as you can see my hand blinking there and right there. And then I've got one clear down on my rack too. Visibility, especially from the rear, is absolutely tantamount, particularly on trikes, because you are very low and you don't have the normal profile of a regular two-wheeled cyclist. So remember that. Try to wear bright colored clothing, although I'm not today because I've got this. And if you can't see this and these three beaming, blinking lights in behind me, you're not paying attention. You're probably sitting here doing this, which makes you a butthead. In any circumstance, I don't care. I'm just, there's nothing makes me more nervous as when I'm in a passenger seat and somebody's in there texting on their phone. I just, no. I give my buddies hell all the time because they're in there texting. All of a sudden they'll hit some rumble strips, and I was like, you just killed a cyclist, dude. And he's like, oh shit, sorry. And but hey, it's true. You know, it's keep your eyes on the road, drivers. Jesus, I tell you that in driver's ed way back in the day. You can tell people don't take driver's ed anymore. Good Lord. So you've got and then your sleeping gear, however you want to do that. If you're going to go camping, if you're just going to do strictly campsites, cool. You know, get you a decent tent, all that good stuff. Your cooking equipment is going to be limited because you've got limited space, and you know, although cast iron is my favorite at campsites for camp cooking, just not a practical thing riding. It's just, you know, a cast iron pan's what, 15 pounds and big, and it doesn't fold up or anything. Your sleeping system, if you're going to be in warm weather, you don't need a 0-degree mummy bag. In fact, right now, my sleeping bag's rated for 50 degrees, I think. Plenty. I'm here in the south, man. I don't have to worry about the cold too much down here. When I was up north, you know, I was carrying a few extra blankets once I left Philly. Great insulating blankets, but they're very heavy. Or moving blankets. Oh my gosh. I was toasty in those. I would just lay them on top of my sleeping bag and I was good to go. And there were a lot of nights where I was getting down into the 20s. I think a couple nights it might have even gotten in the teens there in January, February. And of course your bike. You know, don't cheap out on your bike. Get a good bike with a good grupo. You know, good components. I mean, you don't have to spend $10,000 on. Well, first, you don't want a race bike. You want a touring bike. I'm partial to steel frames. I still am for long touring. They're just more comfortable. And the other advantage of steel, much easier to fix if you happen to develop a crack or something. Because a lot of people have welders and are able to braze. If you got aluminum and you have a crack, forget about it. you're gonna be stranded. Aluminum is significantly tougher to fix, especially on the side of the road. So yeah, just do it. Don't make excuses why you can. You'd be amazed what little bit you can get away with and still pull off a good tour. Decide if how you're going to sleep and whatnot. Are you camping the whole way? Hotels, mixture of both. Pack accordingly. And don't be fooled by everybody who's trying to push this expensive junk on you. You don't have to get the best, this, that, and the other. I've got a front headlight. It's actually a flashlight. I rigged up a mount, and it has 5 settings. It has bright, medium, dim, a strobe section, and a nifty little SOS flash, beep, 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 SOS. My two side lights that finally gave up the ghost after a year, that ran on 16850 batteries, or 18650 batteries, they were little workhorses, and I picked those up. I picked a pair of them up. I think I may have spent 20 bucks on them off of, I think I got them on Amazon, and they work great. Same thing, still had the strobe. You really want a front light that strobes. The strobe lights will catch people's attention much more than just a light, just a solid beam. Same with your backlights too. Get them so, there's multiple settings. In fact, I would say if you were going to spend money on your lighting, invest in your backlighting, because that's your blind spot. You can't, especially the way I'm rolling, and I can't turn my head to see what's behind me. So I'm completely dependent on mirrors, and I want people to see I'm ahead of them. So this is how I do it. The high vis vest, which helps also keep the sun off my water pack, my Camelback, and it is extremely visible. Plus 3 very good blinkies. There's 2 of them. Can't get my hand in the other one. And at least one good front headlight. That preferably has a strobe and a couple other settings. And the other handy thing is make sure they're rechargeable lights. You'll spend a fortune on batteries eventually, so it's much easier to get rechargeable lights. Oh, the other thing too is if you're going on a long distance tour and you plan on doing this for a while, a couple of months or a month or something, really good idea to maybe look into some small portable solar setups. 40 watt panel, and some type of battery pack that will give you a lot of charges. That way you can charge your lights, charge your phone, whatever other junk, whether you have a Garmin or whatever. You have a source of power, particularly off the solar panel. And get out there and do it. Get off that couch, get on your bike. It's the greatest decision and thing I've done in my entire adult life. I don't regret any of this. There were moments where I did, where it was really, really tough, but ultimately I met so many good people along the way. I've seen so many cool things, a lot of history down the East Coast, and I'll be looking forward to the Southern Tier leg. When I do it, who knows? I have another idea too, where and maybe you can, pipe in the comments and stuff. Uh, my other one was, I did this, I'm satisfied, I conquered. As one guy up in Baltimore told me, he goes, man, you're built different. So, and it was a compliment, so that was very cool. But yeah, just get out there and do it, man. You can sit there and come up with every can't situation you could possibly think of. But last I checked, we're Americans, not Americans, right? So, and you can always do more than you think you can. But I'm Casey. I will try to get some more videos out. Maybe I'll spend one on my bags, or how to pack, or what I packed, or maybe I might even do how-to videos while I'm doing my thing down here. I don't know. But, say hi in the comments. Some of you have been pretty regular. There's Surly something, and I think I know who you are. You're the cat who helped me out in Buffalo to find the Erie Canal itself. We met at that campground. But yeah, get out there and do it, man. You will not regret it. In fact, you will get addicted to it. I am. But this next thing, I think I need to get a vehicle, and I want to ride the longer trails like the Katy, the OTEP. Did the Erie. Hell, I'd do the Erie again. I would do the Erie every year if I could. Um, maybe in a few more years I'll check out the East Coast Greenway, but yeah, it's a tough ride. I was detouring off of that more than probably just as much as I was on it. It tends to meander about, takes you to all kinds of, you know, um, some parts of it were really great, and some of it were just absolutely horrifying. There were some roads that I was on that I was just flabbergasted that they would ever suggest to send somebody out on this road on a bicycle. It just blew my hair back. But anyhow, I'll be do another video. I have to figure out what I want to do. Maybe I'll do a how-to. I've got a couple of tires to change up front on this Magnum. I wiped out the Duros it came with, and you see I got this in October, and they're smoked. The back one was dead bald, and the front ones are pretty dang bald, getting there. Very little tread left on them. So, you know, 2,500 miles, something like that, on this particular trike. I'd have to figure it out, but yeah, with the weight and stuff I was hauling, beat the tires to death. Like, you know, brakes, things like that. I am going to tear the whole bike apart and give it a good cleaning and service, including I might even upgrade my rear freewheel. So I'll keep doing stuff like this until I can get to a point where A, I've got enough money to do another one, and B, I decide how I want to do my next tour. I want to do this till I die. I'd love to tour Europe next too. So I've been blathering on. It's damn near a movie now. I know hardly any of you watched the whole hour of it. I'm not that entertaining, I'm sure. The night critters are starting to make their noises. The sunset is awesome. You know, take a look. I'll give you a look around. Check it out. Yeah, look at all that. It's all Francis Marion National Forest right there. And this is a abandoned road I pulled off on. And it's also, you just go back there, it's Francis Marion National Forest back there. And yeah, and you can hear all the night critters coming out. Love it, cicadas and whatnot. So I'm Casey, and remember, you can do more than you think you can. If you want to do this, do it. Don't let this stop you. Don't talk yourself out of it. Make it happen. Make it happen. You don't have to have the best stuff, the fanciest stuff, nothing like that. You need a bike that works well, that is well tuned and sturdy. It doesn't even have to be new. And it does have to fit though. Now whether you go with the trike like I do, okay, that's my green speed. Oh, here you go. There's a little glance at my rear flashy light. So if you're coming up and you don't see that with the bright, you know, something's wrong with you. I don't have my front headlight on. We'll flip it on real quick here. One more. And see, that's a nice strober. And it's very bright. You know, I can see fine for as far as I need to see. And once again, that's all, you know, you can see me front and back with that particular high vis setup. And it gives me pockets to put stuff in too. I forgot about that little bonus. There you go. Sarasota County volunteer left it behind along the Legacy Trail from Sarasota to Venice Beach. So whether you're going to take a trike or whether you're going to do a two-wheeler, do it. The secret is get off your butt and do it. Don't come up with excuses why you can't. You know, excuses why you can't. Nope. I won't buy it. I won't buy it at all. You know, if your legs work, you can do it. You know. So peace. I love you all. To all the people that have helped me out along the road, from friends back home that have sent me money to get me through some tight spots, bless you. I thank you from the bottom of my heart for those who have guided me when I was lost. Thank you for all the road angels I've run into, to all the people I've talked to. It has been an absolute blast, people. The biggest joy was talking to all the folk. From every shape, size, and form, left, right, black, white, whatever, Hispanic, you name it, everything. It was absolute. The joy of the trip was meeting the people I've met, and I can't wait to get. Well, I want to wait because I'm burnt out from long haul, and I'll still do my 20, 30, 50 miles a day. Just because it's fun. Riding a bike is fun. It always has been for me. And we'll see. We'll see what the next video is about. And thank you all for whoever's... somewhere in between 30 and 50 people seem to watch my YouTube channel on the regular, and I appreciate you. That made me feel very good, especially because it's very lonely. That's the one thing I forgot to mention. It can get very lonely when you ride by yourself on a long tour, because it's long stretches of road with no one to talk to but you. So, take care, everybody. I will talk to you soon, and I think my next one will be some type of how-to. Give me some suggestions. Let me know. Peace. Love y'all.